Oh, Bears lose yet again. Turn that from a 4-game losing streak to a 5-game losing streak. Again, how many losing streaks have Matt Eberflus been on that's in his Bears tenure where, guess what? It's been 5 or more? I can't even count how many times I got. Whatever. The only positive, again, I take out of this game is this. Caleb Williams showed up outside of the last overtime drive when he should have just threw the ball away to make it 3rd and 10 instead of 3rd and long. Um, but he played what I would say a really good game today. Really good game. He made history for Chicago Bears standards, mind you. He literally, this is how bad Chicago Bear quarterbacks have been. He is the now he is the leader in terms of Bears rookie quarterbacks for passing yards within a season. Most passing yards by a rookie quarterback in franchise history. That's how bad rookie quarterbacks in Chicago have been. The fact that he is the first to make history like that, being the person that has the most passing yards in Chicago Bears history. That's my only positive. My only positive is Caleb Williams. And I guess the offense, too. The offense, obviously, it took a while till late in that second half to show up. But realistically, Caleb Williams was the offense today. He was throwing it all over the place, putting it in areas. By far, probably if you ask me, this might have been his best game of the year. I know you can throw in several other games and things like that. You can throw in the Jacksonville Jaguars game. You can throw in the Carolina Panthers game. You know, I thought this was his best performance I've seen him yet. He he didn't take many sacks. I think only had like 3 or 4 sacks. The last sack being the worst of them all. But regardless, he showed up when he needed to show up outside the overtime drive. Hopefully, the overtime drive is a learning experience for him, where you have to realize I cannot take a sack in a critical situation, especially when the game is seriously on the line and we get the ball first. And you just can't do that. That play right there basically was him trying to revert back to his USC hero days instead of just either throwing the ball away or maybe getting a few extra yards of running, even though clearly clearly the Vikings were in a zone defense there. Regardless, still you can't hold the ball on too long and take a bad sack like that. That basically put the Bears out of any contention of getting any contention of picking up the first down. And plus and then it made it where you have to trust this soft ass Matt Eberflus defense. But the only positive should be Caleb Williams' play today. It's promising what you can see. And again, I'm just gonna go back and I'm gonna continue to say, like I said last week, the fact that this man Shane Waldron for 9 games in a weird way, outside of maybe those 3 games where he had a little bit of a run, or realistically, if you want to say really the 2 games, the Panthers and Jaguars game, regardless, for 9 straight games, Shane Waldron had this guy not looking like the Caleb Williams that we thought we were going to get. And in only 2 games, Thomas Brown, for some odd reason, has unleashed this guy, and he's looking like the Caleb Williams we were expecting to get all season long. Now, I'm not saying he's not going to go through his struggles in the NFL and his welcome to NFL moments and stuff like that. But the fact that in the last 2 games against the Packers and against the Vikings, 2 teams that I was going into these games, I'm like, he's going to get messed up. He probably has 2 of his best performances as an NFL pro at this point in his career. Absolutely crazy the work Thomas Brown has done in 2 games compared to Shane Waldron in 9 games. And again, I come out of this game with Thomas Brown only scratching my head maybe about 2 or 3 times. The only play that had me freaking furious as all get was that screenplay on a 3rd and 11 early in the game, and it was going to go to Keenan Allen. And I'm just like, why are we throwing a screen on 3rd and 11? And then second of all, why is the screen going to not DJ Moore, Keenan Allen? It should be going to DJ Moore or Rome. And I think later on there was like a screenplay where it was to Cole Kmet, and I'm like, why? Why? Cole's too slow. Why are we doing a tight end screen? And I guess my only other issue, Thomas Brown play calling, I wish he used, when we ran the ball, Roschon Johnson more in the open field, more than DeAndre Swift. Today, it felt like some sort of urgency, like we were going to run DeAndre Swift. And mind you, he had a groin injury going into this game, so you would think maybe Roschon Johnson gets more carries in the midfield part of the game, not really the goal line situation, but whatever. Game. Thomas Brown hasn't made it to where not doing that, and I'm just like, this guy's calling a competent game plan. Yeah, up until the point it was realistically garbage time. He didn't score over 20 points, but regardless, he was still calling the plays and he kept the offense in the game. So that's my thing. Run game was fine. It wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. It was fine. In terms of receiving core, I thought all the receivers did their damn jobs today. I thought they all did their dang jobs today. They were all solid. If I put all the box scores, receiving, DJ Moore had over 100 yards receiving and 1 touchdown, 7 receptions. Keenan Allen had 9 receptions, 86 yards. I'll talk about Keenan Allen in a bit. Cole Kmet, 7 receptions for 64 yards. Rome, 5 receptions for 39 yards. Roschon Johnson got 1 reception and DeAndre Swift got 3 receptions. Receiving wise was fine. Only thing about the receiving that I did not particularly like was the amount of targets that Keenan Allen got. There was a few targets where he showed up and he was productive, but then there's other targets. I'm just like, dude, why are we just force feeding this guy the ball? Like, why? Like the 1 4th down, we force fed him the ball there. The 2-point conversion, we force fed him the ball there. You know, it's just like, bruh. I'm just like, look, Keenan Allen, he's been fine. He's been fine. But it's like, dude, why are we force feeding this guy so much? Why is he like a massive focal point of this offense? Like, can we get Rome more involved, please? But I can't do nothing if Caleb feels comfortable with Keenan Allen. Again, he made some solid catches. One of the catches he made got overturned. But then on the other end, the stupid ass refs are like, oh, but the 1 touchdown catch by Jalen Naylor, even though he stepped out of bounds, we're going to keep that as a touchdown. But earlier, the drive before, you call Keenan Allen out of bounds after making a ridiculous catch. But we're not going to hold up the same end of our bargain for the Vikings, huh? Okay. All right. Sure. Regardless, receiving was Cole Kmet. He dropped a pass on like a simple 3rd down or something, and it's like, dude, catch the football. No, Cole Kmet is always shaky with me. Sometimes he's good, sometimes he's not. But at least I'll say this: Thomas Brown in 2 games has understood how to use his weapons a lot more than how freaking Shane Waldron ever could. With Shane Waldron, he didn't know what to do with the weapons. 2 games in, Thomas Brown knows what he wants to do with the weapons and how he wants to use them in the offense. Legitimately. I'm like, okay, now, legitimately, you might have to give this guy a potential head coaching interview to see if he actually legitimately can be a head coach. Because the way I'm seeing him, he's doing a damn good job. And even if you don't hire him, shit, you hire somebody else, I would love for that head coach, whoever you hire, to bring Thomas Brown back and be like, hey, you know what? You did some good things last year with Caleb. Let's keep you on the staff. It's just amazing to me to see how much progress this offense has been taking in less than 2 games compared to mother effing Shane Waldron in 9 games. That again tells me why is the head coach not fired yet? He allowed this guy to be up in the building. He wasn't paying attention to this guy's abhorrent play calling, and he was just fine with it. Meanwhile, you had the passing game coordinator who basically is doing a much better job than him in 2 freaking games. And even if you want to say, well, realistically, it wasn't until really late in the fourth quarter the offense didn't do much of anything. I look at the fact that against this Brian Flores blitzing defense, we basically barely get Caleb sacked in this today. Like, for basically almost the entirety of the game, with the exception of a few plays here and there, Caleb Williams was up front and the offensive line blocked well enough. So I'm having to wonder, and then listen, I still don't like Chris Morgan as the offensive line coach. We still need to do a better job. But I'm questioning the point. The play calling is more beneficial to not only your quarterback, but also more beneficial for your offensive line. It's making them look better. And I got to be honest, there was times Caleb Williams was holding the ball pretty long, and the offensive line was still blocking their asses off. I got to give credit where credit's due. I've been slandering the offensive line from a good chunk of the season, but against a blitzing defense, I was pleasantly surprised that they actually showed up. They actually showed up. Pleasantly surprised that they showed up, and they actually blocked their butts off in pass protection. Man, maybe that has something to do with the scheme that Thomas Brown is calling. Clearly. Or maybe Thomas Brown is getting on these guys. I need you guys to block better. Do your damn jobs. As opposed to Shane Waldron is like, well, just make sure you guys protect Caleb, okay? It seems like this guy must have been more stern in their blocking up front and must have been calling them out and saying, you guys got to do a damn better job at blocking for our quarterback. He ain't got no time to throw. You guys got to take some pride within your damn selves. I barely heard much of anything of the offensive line being a problem today. I was scared going to this game. I saw this. I'm like, what the heck? So offense, they did well enough to win today. Well enough to win today. You wish they better executed on that overtime drive. But listen, after what I saw today with Caleb, he's only getting better. And I'm even more further convinced that this dude might legitimately be the guy. Because this dude, I was really happy that he did that against Brian Flores' defense. Just look at the stat line. He was 32 for 47 yards. Now, I don't like him pass for damn near almost 50 attempts. Let's lower that. We only had 22 carries this week. I want more carries. I don't want my rookie quarterback throwing damn near 50 times a game. So that's I guess that's another blemish I want to say on Thomas Brown. Don't have Caleb throw almost 50 times a game. We could up the rushing yards. And I know Minnesota's got one of the best run defenses, but still, let's run the ball a little bit more. Like, DeAndre Swift having 13 carries, fine. He's coming off an injury, but Roschon Johnson should not have just 2 carries. He should have more than that. He should have had at least 10 attempts. Which if you add 10 more attempts, that would have been 32. But going off the Caleb stat line, he was 32 for 47 attempt. He was 32 for 47, 340 yards, 2 TDs, only took 3 sacks, had 6 carries for 33 yards rushing. Fine. I figured that the rushing would be down because there were several times in this game the Vikings had a spy on him. I think one of the good plays he had was where, even though he had the spy, which was Van Ginkel, I loved having Jenkins blown up, and Caleb Williams got a few extra yards on that one drive to end up trying to cut the game and everything, right? So there's that. Now let's get to the Chicago Bears defense that has fallen off a fucking cliff from what they supposedly were a year ago, right? Again, like I said it. I think I said it going into this season too. I said, who the hell cares about what you did last year? That shit won't translate go into next year after you got film on you. Teams will understand your tendencies and what you need to do. And sure as hell, teams definitely know what the tendencies are. These guys won't blitz. They'll sit back in their stupid soft zone, and then we'll just pick them apart one by one. They can't stop the run. The defense was god awful today. The defense was god awful. If you're going to allow 30 points to, in what I would say, a pretty average at best, I'm being nice there, Minnesota Vikings offense that has kind of fallen back down to earth as of late, it's a complete joke. You made Sam Darnold throw over 300 yards on your fucking defense. Sam Darnold's average at best. He didn't look nearly as impressive the last few weeks. The Jacksonville Jaguars held the fucking Minnesota Vikings offense to 12 fucking points last week. Or not last week, 2 weeks ago. The Jacksonville Jaguars held the Minnesota Vikings offense to 12 points. Colts defense only held the Vikings offense to 21. The Rams off defense held the Vikings to 20. Tennessee held the Vikings offense to 23. '49ers with their average defense held them to 23. The Jets in London held them to 23. And then after that, it's basically anything higher than 23, which formed the Giants, the Texans, and then the Green Bay Packers, and then the Lions. But this defense allows 30 points. And when you look at over the fact of what the Vikings have done throughout the course of, if you look at the record, when the Vikings have scored over 25 points or more, they end up pretty much sometimes cruising to a victory. But you get my point. Some of these average defenses in the NFL held these guys to like 23 points or less. The Bears gave up 30, and I'm supposed to be built like they got some really damn good defense. It's simple. We know what's up with the Bears defense. They get absolutely no interior rush because their defensive line is complete garbage outside of Montez Sweat. Montez Sweat can't get any pressure because he's getting double teamed, which leaves other guys wide open on an island, and they don't win their one-on-one fucking battles. Sam Darnold only took 3 sacks. We should have had more. Then the Bears can't stop the run. You let Aaron Jones, Bears killer, get 106 yards rushing and 1 touchdown. And then don't get me started on this Chicago Bears passing zone defense, man. If you want to get right in the passing game, play the Chicago Bears and Matt Eberflus's stupid zone cover 2 defense. I was pleasantly shocked that we held Justin Jefferson to 2 receptions for 27 yards. Jalen Johnson locked his ass up. And actually, I was pleasantly surprised that realistically, every time I watched the game today, Jalen Johnson was lined up opposite of Justin Jefferson. Good God, you ask and you shall receive. Ask the guy you paid a boatload of cash to line up against their number 1 guy and shut him down. Novel concept. Now, the only issue I have is the fact that for some whatever reason, Jalen Johnson can't shut down Christian Watson. Christian Watson is apparently a Chicago Bears killer. He does nothing about Christian Watson for the Packers does nothing else against anybody else in the league. But when he sees the Chicago Bears, he's like, yum, 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 yum. Oh, I love playing the Bears. Novel concept, putting your best number 1 corner on their best receiver. He shuts him down. Justin Jefferson got absolutely nothing this game. Pleasantly surprised that he wasn't killing us. But see, in the game planning, that their game plan was let's shut down Justin. But they forgot that they got Jordan Addison and they got TJ Hawkinson. Both receivers, and really Hawkinson's tight end, but you get my point. Receivers getting over 100 yards receiving. Unacceptable. Jordan Addison. Matt Eberflus's dumbass zone let the freaking guy who always gets into trouble driving, whether it's speeding or it's drunk driving or something else, something speeding driving. They let this dude have 8 receptions for 162 yards. That can't happen. That can't happen. If you're shutting down Justin Jefferson, you can't let his number 2 go off. And don't even get me started on TJ Hawkinson. Every time they threw him the ball, he was wide ass open. So either somebody's not covering him or is covering the responsibility in the zone. But regardless, it's a soft zone. Again, there was multiple Viking receivers, whether it was Addison or freaking Hawkinson, morely Hawkinson, that were wide ass open. And they were getting like freaking 15 yards plus carries or yards after catch. This Eberflus soft zone defense is bad. It's bad. Guys being left wide open across the middle of the field. Guys, simple play, simple curl routes on 3rd and longs. Yeah, I couldn't count how many times the Vikings converted on 3rd and fucking longs. You go back to the overtime period. You get like 2 good sacks on freaking Darnold, right? You shut them down. Critical situation. You can get the ball back, get Caleb an opportunity to get into field goal range and be able to kick the game-winning field goal and make up for what you failed to do last week. They sit back in a stupid zone on a 3rd and 12, and the Vikings pick up a freaking first down, and they continue to pick up for another first down and a massive 3rd down too on that same exact overtime drive. Instead of just blitzing and sending the damn house and saying, guess what? If we get beat over top, so be it. We're going to go out fighting. We got to make sure we get the pressure home and we get this guy so we can get the ball or offense back. But Eberflus's mindset is, I got to play soft. I got to play front. I got to play not being aggressive to win. I got to make sure that we have no guys getting beat deep because we're playing a man defense. Man, please. Man, please. It's an absolute joke, dude. His defense is an absolute joke. Too many effing times where there's guys wide ass open. And now this defense can't stop nobody. This defense can't stop nobody. Seriously. And here we go again. And this is morely to the coaching. Morely to the coaching. But it's another game where we lead the game, even though it's a minute later, with time of possession, we still lose the game. Still lose the game. And to end off this video, the coaching, man, is just... the coaching is atrocious. Eberflus should be fired first thing tomorrow. But you want to know what? Because we're in a short week, the Bears won't fire Eberflus. And I hope the Bears brass are now looking at this game, the fact that we came all the way back down. We found a way to force the game into overtime. Just like what Thomas Brown said on Thursday, there's no attaboys here. At the end of the day, we still lost. We didn't win the game. So the Bears brass needs to look up and be like, okay, we forced overtime, but we still lost at the end of the game. Because guess what? Losing teams find ways to lose. Winning teams like the Vikings find ways to win, even though they had a colossal choke job of damn near almost losing the game entirely. The fact that, for whatever reason, they were not paying attention to where the ball was at and not making sure, like, we got to make sure the ball gets over 10 yards, right? You have one of their players touch the onside kick, which lets the Bears recover, and then their defense lets Caleb Williams throw a deep pass in the middle of the field to put them in field goal range and tie the game. Like, if I'm the Vikings, honestly, you look at this and you're like, we had countless opportunities to blow the Bears out. Realistically, the Vikings offense left the Bears, in the game. They could have put us away completely in that third quarter, but they kept messing around. And obviously, credit to the Bears getting stops, but they kept messing around and not going for the jugular and not finishing the Bears off when they had opportunity after opportunity. Like, for example, the fourth down play, they should have just ran the ball on 4th and short, but they passed to TJ Hawkinson, drops the pass. If I'm a Vikings fan and I'm seeing I got in a dogfight to the point this should have never happened, the fact that we went to overtime with the Bears, that should never happen. The fact that happened is, if you're a Vikings fan, and if you're a Vikings fan watching this, you should be embarrassed the fact that this bad Bears team that finds more ways to lose managed to find a way to tie the game, recover impossible onside kick, and almost win the game and beat you. That's why I'm not sold on the Vikings. The Vikings are not that fucking good. They're led by an average-ass quarterback with good weapons around him. Sam Darnold doesn't scare nobody. Put him in the playoffs, he's going to break. There will be a first-round exit. Vikings are not that good. They're not that good. But the coaching is just an absolute joke. The coaching is an absolute joke. Eberflus coaching scared to win as usual. It doesn't help when you line up for a field goal instead of just going for it after the play was overturned for the Keenan Allen play. That's what they should have went for it on 4th down right then and there. But no, Eberflus playing it safe. He decides to go kick a field goal. And the field goal ends up getting blocked again. Same area where it did end up getting blocked. And at that point, I'm just like, you can't make this shit up. You should have fixed the issue that needed to be fixed. But no, same side gets blown up, blocked kick. It also doesn't help that Cairo Santos still, from these long attempts, are kicking it low. So maybe the Bears going into the offseason are have to potentially look and maybe potentially upgrading a kicker. Yeah, will you maybe lose your accuracy? Yeah. But honestly, at this point, I kind of want a kicker that got more power, that will kick it over the top of the defense to make sure that they don't block it. I don't want a kicker to kick it low because he needs to get more distance on it because he ain't got a strong enough leg. But the fact that that's the case, that it got blocked yet again, absolute joke. Absolute joke. Eberflus challenging another play that should have never been challenged. Now, yes, they announced that, apparently coaches don't get that one, standalone look, which is absolute stupidity on the NFL. The fact coaches don't have, that overhead look to tell, really, for a replay process before they challenge something, that's stupid. You should have all NFL teams be able to have access to every single camera angle to make sure they know, okay, let's challenge this. There's an actual link. But regardless, it was a bad challenge, in my opinion, because you wasted that early in the third quarter. I think that was that was the first play of the third quarter, and he blew his challenge, and that blew a timeout. And I'm like, why? That's such a bad challenge. You're just throwing the challenge flag again, like we've seen in previous weeks with Matty Eberflus, to throw the challenge flag just to throw it. Because he's trying to fight to save his life. To me, that felt like a desperation challenge, because he knows I got to do something otherwise before this game gets out of hand and I start getting blown up. And then you have another issue here where, my God, man, you get another special teams blunder. So I don't know if Bear fans will call for Richard Hightower's job. I bet you that's what Bear fans are going to do. But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. I even retweeted this guy. I think it's Ben Devine or whatever. I retweeted his statement talking about Richard Hightower needs to go. It's just been terrible and everything. Yeah, he's got to do a better job at making sure his guys know what the hell they're doing, and everything is all set up. But it will just be like Shane Waldron. You're gonna fire another coordinator, which will make it another coordinator, another coach on Eberflus's staff that is fired. But it will be another coordinator that is fired because he's gonna be used as a scapegoat. So then Eberflus can say, "Well, he just wasn't doing a good enough job in having our players prepared to play or knowing what they need to do." That just buys him a little bit more time to save his job. No, keep Richard Hightower on the team. That's not going to fix anything firing Richard Hightower. That's not going to make your special teams better. Because you want to know why? It's a coaching habit. And it comes from the head coach. The head coach is the problem. He is the problem. Richard Hightower is a little cog in the machine that is the problem. That's why another field goal kick got blocked. That's why when your punt returner, DeAndre Carter, is saying fire, 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 get out the way, he's not doing his own damn job and getting out the way. And of course, that led to the Vikings getting a touchdown because his dumbass decided, I'm going to tell my teammates to fire, but I'm not going to get out the way. Ball hits his leg, boom. And then guess what? Instead of Matt Eberflus being that hard-hitting coach, saying, you know what, dude? You had a dumbass play. Go take a seat on the bench. Your day is done. No, he rewards him. He gives him another opportunity. He puts him back out there with the kickoff return team. And on the next kickoff return team, he fumbles the ball. Yes, I know. Later on, he almost returned it for a touchdown. But regardless, you look at that and you accept that. It's the same exact thing they did with Velus Jones. He fumbled it over and over and over again. And they kept giving him opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. And then after a while, after year 3, they finally realized, we got to cut this guy. This is what I'm talking about. There's no balls on this coaching staff. There's no balls by the head coach. When DeAndre Carter made that blunder, if I was in that position, I'm telling him, don't even put your helmet back on. Sit down. You're benched. You're done. Your day's done. You had a critical error, and that gave up points. You got to set the mandate home. We will not tolerate stupid play. But you see, the Bears will continue to suck, and they'll continue to have these blunders because the head coach will not be willing to take accountability for that and not hold his players accountable. And also the whole thing about talking about, well, we hold our players accountable and blah, 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 blah. Well, if you hold your players accountable, bench them. Tyreek Stevenson sucks. Bench him. One of the first plays on the first drive the Vikings get. He could have stopped Aaron Jones right in the backfield. No, he kept backing up like you don't want to make a play. Aaron Jones rushes into the red zone. Terrell Smith, honestly, has been playing better. So there don't need to be no rotation between Tyreek Stevenson and Terrell Smith. Tell Tyreek Stevenson, take a freaking ego pill in your ego. You're bench too. You're the backup. Terrell Smith, you're the starter. I'm not here to play high school football. Why are we doing rotations with our cornerbacks? Make your decision on who you want the starting cornerback to be. The starting cornerback opposite of Jalen Johnson should be Terrell Smith, not Tyreek Stevenson. But does the coach care? No. He says, you know, we got to let everybody get a chance to play, okay? Tyreek, you can have this rotation. Like this is some high school freshman football shit. This is the NFL. If Tyreek Stevenson can't handle him being the second stringer, then maybe he needs to be off the goddamn team. He's no good, realistically. Tyreek Stevenson has regressed from what he did last year. And realistically, he wasn't good in his rookie season either. He turned it on later in the season, but to start off, he sucked. And he sucks still. Terrell Smith should be your starting cornerback opposite of Jalen Johnson. At least he shows some promise. But it doesn't matter. Your secondary is still getting freaking burnt like burnt toast. They're getting carved up all over the field because he refuses soft defense because he doesn't believe in blitzing. Because he's too afraid to blitz. He's afraid that a team will take him over the top and score a walk-in touchdown. Have some confidence in your damn secondary. You need some freaking pressure. We're like one of the worst teams in terms of getting pressure. because you're running a stupid 4-man rush that don't get home, that doesn't create pressure. It's a freaking joke. Dude playing scared to lose or scared to win, rewarding players that make mess ups, blunders that cost you points. And then also to another mind-boggling decision was after we get the touchdown, when it's 24-16, we decide to go for two. Why? Why did we decide to go for two? And I saw that, I'm like, see, this man's only did that because he knows if we get the 2-point conversion, we score another touchdown, we win the game. No, dude, you're at home. If you're on the road, okay, I understand. You're in hostile territory. You want to get as many points as you possibly can. But you're at home. So you're at home and it favors you. Kick the extra point, make it 24-17, so if you score another touchdown, you tie the freaking game. And guess what? If you had made the field goal, you would have won the game by 3. And there is no overtime. That 2-point conversion was strictly a decision by Eberflus because he like, well, I got to do something. We got to win this game. The problem with Eberflus and his coaching style right now is he's more worried trying to get a win because he knows his time is up. The clock is ticking. It's only a matter of time before this loser is fired. And he knows it. He knows it. The way he talks in the press conferences with no confidence. These coordinators talk with more confidence than he does. And they probably know, well, it's probably my last run here too. But I'm at least going to go out there and do what's best for the team. He's over here moping and everything. Basically like what we see with all other Bears coaches that know that they're dead in the water, that they know that they're fired, which, again, questions me with Ryan Poles. Why not just put this guy out of his misery? Fire the moron, let him go on and move and maybe go find something else to go do and prepare his next journey instead of just keeping him here and the media's grilling him that he clearly hears when he listens to the radio or the media show or the national media. You get my point. Because guess what? They're not talking about Eberflus in a positive limelight. They're talking about him in a negative limelight. And we're at the point where people are saying Caleb Williams is doing all this in spite of what he's doing to him. That's what I'm saying. Fire the coach tomorrow. I don't care if you're on a short week before Thanksgiving Day. The first thing he does when he walks into the office, if I'm Ryan Poles, you greet him right there at his office and be like, hey man, sorry, but not sorry. Happy Thanksgiving, enjoy with your family, but you're fired. Matt Eberflus now has an overall record of in-division play. He's 2-12. 2-12 against division opponents. And I think altogether, he's like 3-19 or something. I don't know his overall record. And let me look. Matt Eberflus' overall record. Matt Eberflus' overall record. Let's look. So 3 plus 7 plus 4. And the Bears are 4-7, correct? Yep, we're 4-7. So he's only got 14 wins. And he's got 31 losses. I don't know what the until that updates, I don't know what the percentage is in terms of winning percentage, but that's under 500. That's like in the 300s, 200s range last time I checked. But this guy is 14-31. He holds the record. Right now, he's the worst Bears head coach of all time. 14-31 with a very extremely low winning record. He's 2-12 in division play. He's 0-18 on the fucking road. Or 0-7. It's either 0-18 or 0-17 on the road. One of the two. He's got no wins on the road on Sundays. He's the worst head coach of Bears history. You just put up the stats. It's terrible. Terrible. And the Bears brass is like, we're not going to fire him because that's tradition. We don't fire him. And then that's why I'm saying the Bears brass cannot look at what they did by getting forced in overtime to the Minnesota Vikings to be like, he deserves another week. If it was me, I'm firing him tomorrow. I'm saying, happy Thanksgiving. You're fired. That's what I would tell him. I don't care how much of a dick move that sounds. I don't care how much of bad, internal business that is, or how bad that is from a PR perspective. That you're wishing a man and you're firing him a few days before Thanksgiving Day, and the man's going to go to his Thanksgiving dinner with his family being a fired man from his job. Who the fuck cares? It's a business. It's a business. He should know what he's done has not been acceptable. So he can go cry while eating fucking turkey. If the Bears are not going to fire him tomorrow or even tonight, then after the Thanksgiving Day against Detroit, that's the perfect time to fire him because that will be like a mini bye week. That would be the perfect time to fire him because at that point, you'll have lost 6 straight games if you lose to Detroit on Thanksgiving Day, which is my birthday, by the way. You have lost 6 straight. You will have officially started the season going 0-3 in division, which will then push your record to 2-19. No, not 2-19, not 2-19. 2-13 in division play as head coach of the Bears, and then you'll be 14-32 overall as Bears head coach. At that point, you might as well fire him after Thanksgiving Day and say, I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. You're fired. Enjoy your Christmas. It's a joke. And again, the more Ryan Poles does not make the decision to not want to fire him, that starts to give me the whole props of maybe you need to get fired yourself. So, regardless, I don't know. I don't expect Eberflus to get fired. I don't expect him on Monday morning to be fired, but I would hope he's fired. Because again, just like what Thomas Brown said on Thursday, there is no attaboys. There isn't, oh shucks, good job, guys. We almost had the Vikings. But you guys played hard. And I haven't even watched his press conference, but I bet you he's rambling on the goddamn positives, talking about, well, we did a good job at, finding a way to almost pull out the victory and finding a way to force an overtime. Who cares? We lost at the end of the day. I don't care about, oh, we did a good job at forcing overtime. We lost. Thomas Brown on Thursday talking about there's no attaboys here, even though we just came up short against the Packers and we had a good offensive performance last week. He probably gonna say the same thing again. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we had a good, solid offensive performance last week against Vikings. But that don't mean shit. We didn't win. We had a chance to go win the game and we lost it. That's what Thomas Brown's going to do. He's going to take accountability and he's going to say, look, we probably should, we on that first offensive drive in overtime, we should have played better. Then we lost it. But I bet you Eberflus didn't come out in his press conference and say, I take the ownership on that. I got to make sure our defense gets stops in that overtime period. No, he's not going to admit that. He's going to talk about players not executing. And he's going to look at the positives, the fact that we forced overtime in unspeakable odds. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Matt Eberflus needs to be gone. He's the worst coach of Chicago Bears history with a 14-31 record overall, and he's 2-12 in the fucking division. You put that shit up. You put that record up. That tells me he needs to be fired. He should be fired first thing in the morning. And if he's not fired first thing in the morning, he should be fired the first thing in the morning on Friday after Thanksgiving Day. I don't give a shit if that makes him sad or if you You're wrong. It's a business. Who cares? I've seen coaches get fired on their fucking birthdays. Who the fuck cares? I bet coaches probably got fired on a goddamn wedding day for them. Who cares? I don't care about the holidays. If you want to try to build a winning team and talk about this whole thing of never giving up the North, well, guess what? Fire the goddamn coach and say, we got to do better. We got to improve in the coaching. Because it's the same mistakes over and over again. Undisciplined play. Undisciplined play. We had 7 penalties for 80 yards. 7 for 80! That's a coaching issue! Because you can't get out of your own way. We again jump off sides of a goddamn silent count. Where Sam Darnold's just trying to draw you off sides. You jump again. How much more do we have to say? This is a coaching issue. Fire the dumb coach and get the problem out the way. But no, we don't want to do that. We want to keep this soft tone, freaking scaredy cat of a man being the head coach of the Bears. The defense doesn't play hard for him anymore. They play hard for themselves. The offense is playing hard because they got a new voice in Thomas Brown who's better than Shane Waldron. They ain't listening to a damn thing Eberflus says. Remember last week, Caleb had to basically beg Eberflus to go for it on 4th down against the Packers multiple times. He rewards players for making a blunder and says, go out there and make up for it. When you should be benched. It's a joke, man. Eberflus should be fired first thing tomorrow morning. But the Bears are not going to do that because they don't care. They'll let the train wreck continuously happen until the season's over with. Fire the guy, get rid of him now before he becomes more of a problem later. Just be done with him. If Eberflus is not fired tomorrow or Friday, I'm calling for Ryan Poles to be fired himself too. I'm done with this crap. The coach is a problem. And I said before, and I'll say it again. Until the Bears get the coaching right, until the McCaskies understand that it's time to get uncomfortable and get a coach that is willing to tell them, back the fuck off, let me do my job. You stay up in your press box and be good old McCaskies. Let me do the football talking here. You guys don't know shit. Yeah, you guys come from one of the most iconic families in NFL history, and that dude actually knew what he was talking about in football. But nobody else in the McCaskey family knows a damn thing about football. They sure as hell know a damn thing about freaking business operations and how to make money. They don't know how to make no goddamn football team be good because they didn't get it from Papa Bear George Halas. And maybe we need to start looking at Papa Bear George Halas and start to write an indictment on him, the fact that he didn't want to get his family involved in this. And hey, this is how you're supposed to do things. This is how you're supposed to learn. This is how you do things for the football world, okay? But no, they wanted to be business guys. We need a coach that'll go in to tell McCaskey's back the hell off, let me do my job, and is in conjunction with the GM saying, this is not acceptable. We got to be better. Let's cut him. But coach, Ryan, let's cut him. He's not providing anything. I'm sorry. I got as much as I can get out of him. We need a coach like that. We don't need a soft tone bitch coach in this building because that's what they hired the last few years. They've hired coaches that are basically bitches. Nagy, Trestman, Fox, now Eberflus. And the worst part is Eberflus is the worst out of those three. People said Trestman was the worst head coach of Bears history. Please. At least he was actually solid the first year. Eberflus has been terrible all 3 years. And don't give me that crap about the first year was a tanking season. It was a joke. A joke. I could look at the tanking year. They were more competitive that first year under Eberflus than they are now. But that's what happens when you have a coach that has established a losing culture. He continually finds ways to lose instead of finding ways to win. Because he coaches scared, you'll lose. He doesn't coach aggressive. He's coaching to save his job. That's all I got to say. I'll be back on Thursday. I don't know if my Uncle Daryl will be here. Thanksgiving Day, my birthday. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We might be the next Lions team, or we might be the next team the Lions play that drops 50 on our asses. And they're just doing ring around a rosy, and they're getting it for a touchdown. And the Bears, guess what? They can't stop it. We'll see. We'll see. Offensive wise, very encouraged with where that's going. Hopefully that means they all actually show up on Thursday. But we'll see. But I'll tell you this, defense going to get carved up. My birthday's going to be fucking hell. Thanksgiving Day, my birthday. Hell. Absolute hell. I'm getting out of here. If you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts. Hit that subscribe button if you want to get more Chicago Bears content. Provide any Chicago Bears news within the week and anything like that. Hope to have the NFL Week 13 predictions out on Tuesday. And we'll see. Anyways, catch you guys next video. Till then, guys. Peace.